And good evening, good morning, good day, wherever you are in the world. And thank you so much once again for joining another free A Home in Italy webinar. And I'm really looking forward to this one tonight, because you get to meet the beautiful Sharon and the what can I say about Stan? You'll have to wait and see. It's going to be an absolutely great one tonight. Really looking forward to this. It's the first in the series of Meet the Home Buyers. Obviously, we've done something similar with Craig and Lexi in the past, the couple that bought out here. But it's going to be a monthly thing now, where you get to meet people that are out here, that are doing it, that are buying or in the process of buying, or already bought their dream property in Italy, and going to find out how things went a little bit later. So if it's the first time that you join us, thank you so much for joining us. And we do these every week, other than next week. Next week, unfortunately, I am off for a week. Because it's my in-laws' 50th wedding anniversary, so there'll be no webinars next week. But usually we do them weekly. So if it's the first time tonight, thank you so much, and hopefully you'll be continuing to join us for a long time to come. We've got a record number in tonight. You will see that on your bottom right-hand side of your screen that there's a chat box there. You will notice as well that if you do ask a question, then it will take a bit of time before it comes up, because that goes through our moderator, who is Tony, as per usual. So he needs to check that it's relevant to tonight's subject, which obviously we're talking to Stan and Sharon and getting their story. So feel free to ask questions. But there will be certain things that we won't be able to talk about that may take us off into other subjects, such as residency and things like that. This is all about their story and what's happening, but do feel free to join in. So have a go in the chat box. If you type at the bottom right, just tell us where you are in the world, and we'll have a quick look in a second to see who's in. And yeah, so next week, so notices, just to let you know. Oh, before I do that, if you're watching this on a telephone, if you're watching on a mobile phone, you will see 3 buttons at the bottom. We have got lots of photographs tonight. So what you will need to do is click on the bottom left, I think it is, to go to the photographs. The bottom right is the chat, and the middle is to come back to camera. And if you're watching on a tablet, then you'll need to have it in this way, landscape, and everything should happen automatically. If for any reason, sometimes it happens, if for any reason the gremlins hit us and I disappear and there's just Stan and Sharon on there, I'm sure Stan will entertain you with a little song or something like that till I come back. It only usually takes a minute or so, and I will be back with you. So don't worry if things go blank or if the logo comes back up. Just bear with us. You no need to do anything. Just bear with us and come back in. Okay, so let's have a quick look and see where people are tonight. So Tony's saying great to see you all here tonight. So Gerwin, buonasera a tutti. Ed, hi from London, Canada. We've got Gerard from Bonjour de Paris. Ruth, hello Ruth, North Somerset. Albert, hi there. Jeffrey and Cheryl, hello from Colombia, MD USA. MD, where's that then? Colombia, MD. Why don't I know all these things? People like to write these things, just try and catch me out. MD, nope, that's lost me, that one. Beth, hi from Pennsylvania, USA. Stella, hi from sunny Whitstable. I hear the UK is having great weather as well, isn't it? It's torture that for me, because I usually like it when we're having great weather and it's freezing over there, but there you go. Can't have my fun at the moment. Michelle in Coventry, Jerwin in Rotterdam. Julia, we have a heat wave here. Yes, so I've heard. I think everybody's suffering a little bit. Laura Chow from Pennsylvania, USA. Laura Chow, Laura from Connecticut. Rick in Tennessee. We've got Steve, hi from Philadelphia. Hi, Americans, I. Hi, American, I. Robert, hello from a very hot Florida. Zana, hello from Nottingham. Alan living in Cry. Never heard of that one. Whereabouts is that, Alan? Chris, hello from KY, USA. People are just taking a mess now. That's got to be Kentucky. It has to be. Alan in Croatia. People are writing something like Yagev, Ben Itzhak. Okay. Hi from Israel. Great. Have somebody here from Israel. Fantastic. Barbara from Texas. Is that the Barbara that I know? And I'm guessing it is. Who's going to be doing one of these soon as well. Once I ask us, that's a surprise for you, Barbara. Robert, hi from Scotland. Kim and Steve from UK. Ali Chow from a rather muggy Nottingham, awaiting a thunderstorm. Marvellous, could do one of those here. Jeffrey and Cheryl in Maryland. Joy, hi from the UK. Mike from Guatemala. Pamela from California, which I'm guessing is California. Thomas, Michigan. Aldi from Los Angeles. Brian in Bath. Sun, no rain. How could... Steve from Florida. Barbara, yes, I am. I thought it would be you. John, hello from Connecticut. Pamela from California. Christina, hi from Christina, America, living in the UK. Steve, hi, Dave. Hi, Steve. Perfect. People are still typing that, so we know that the chat box works. We could do that all night, couldn't we, and just talk about nothing? But no, that would be stealing the show from our guests. So, quick note, I've got a few things just to tell you notice-wise, and then we'll get cracking and speak to Stan and Sharon and find out about their story. All of these, by the way, as I said, we're going to do these monthly, but they all will be published on YouTube as well and kept on the website. So, because it should be a great series once we do this. Okay, so next week, as I said, there will be no webinars, but then we'll start again the week after. We'll go back to Thursday nights. That's going to be until sort of mid-August. And then I'm going on a holiday for a couple of weeks, and I may decide to do one from Sicily. We're going to Sicily this year, so you never know. I may decide and do one from there. Christina, hoping to collect keys to a house in Chieti in August. Well, hopefully you do. Tanya, hello, Dave. Tanya in the house. Hi from New York City. Roxanne, okay. So all of these are working. Doug, hi from Long Beach, California. Ria, hi, Dave. Okay, perfect. Let's get started. So like I said, next week, there is no webinar, but we'll kick up again the week after. And I think that's all the notices to tell you today. So there you go. Let's get on with things. Christina, thank you for your very informative webinars. You're more than welcome, Christina. So now I'm going to attempt to bring Stan and Sharon Gosler saying hi from me. I'm just going to find their camera. We did have a few problems with our cameras earlier. Hopefully it's going to be sorted out. So let's try and put their camera on now. Just give us a couple of seconds and their camera should be on shortly. And here we go.
Oh my goodness. Buongiorno. Buonanotte. Buonasera.
Greetings.
How are you guys doing? What a setting. You sat there drinking wine. Brilliant. I should probably tell people in the time zone where you are, it's about 8 o'clock in the morning, isn't it?
7 in the morning. No, I'm just kidding. No, unfortunately, here we are in muggy, hot Charleston, South Carolina.
Okay.
At about 1 o'clock or a little bit thereafter p.m.
So we're glistening.
Yes, I'm glowing. Don't you know?
Yeah. What I'm going to ask you guys, if I can, you may need to move slightly closer to your microphone because it just sounds a little bit quiet. So some people may say, so you may need to or shout towards the microphone at some point. So would you? Yeah. or sign language. You actually got me stumped for a minute then. I was looking, thinking, what's he doing now?
Too much fun. Dave, you're always a delight, and thank you for allowing us to do this with you.
No, thank you for joining us. Absolute pleasure to have you on board, so to speak. So hopefully everybody can hear what you're saying. Jerwin is just saying that the sound is a little bit low, so I don't know if you can maybe move your chairs a little bit closer to the camera. If you can, then that would be fantastic, and I'll just keep people entertained with a little song while we're doing that.
The Lumberjack song.
We can do the Lumberjack song again. I think we did that at some point during our property tour, didn't we? There you go. We've had some very strange conversations over the last month or so.
Yes, yes, we did.
Okay, so as I've told everybody, this is Stan and Sharon. Do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself and where you live and all that kind of thing? And then I'll ask a few questions before we get onto photographs.
Oh, now it's me. Anyway, well, we've been living here in beautiful Charleston, South Carolina for about 11 years. Our goal has always been to move to Italy. Sharon is originally from Denver, Colorado area, and we lived there for 25 years before moving east with the possibility of actually moving to Italy. But the economy went south, and the job I had with an Italian company went south at the same time. I happen to be a commercial photographer. That's what I do because I don't want to have a real job. And my lovely wife is an international award-winning graphic designer. She's also in sustainability. She is a commercial solar research specialist on setting up community solar. So we're thrilled with all the solar that's coming into Italy. We believe in driving electric and having solar, et cetera, et cetera. This is probably too much information.
No, that's absolutely fine. It's good to get to know you. That's the main thing. That's what it's all about. So let's get into a few things. Why? So why Italy? You said it's always been your dream to move to Italy. Why? What sort of when did the love affair start?
Well, actually, the love affair started at least 20 years ago, and part of it is, I mean, both of us used to road race motorcycles, and we used to go over to Italy and France and other places for motorcycle road racing. But in Italy, it's the true passion for the everyday. It's the driving fast and eating slow and enjoying each other's company and the people. And they're beautiful people all over the world. I mean, I'm even Whitstable. I heard Whitstable, and we've been watching Whitstable Pearl on PBS or whatever. So anyway, we know where Whitstable is, by the way.
And you'll be able to visit there soon when you're living in Europe.
That's right, a little easier.
We can visit. And again, it's the beauty of the area, and we always thought we wanted to live further north until, Dave, and it's your fault, we found Abruzzo.
Yeah, that's what I wondered. So, I mean, the love affair with Italy, because everybody loves Italy. But how did you home in on Abruzzo?
Well, go ahead.
And can I just quickly interject one thing here? 20 years ago was our first visit to Italy, 2002. And it was actually we were going to elope, but that was too hard. So we ended up having our pre-honeymoon before we got married. Anyway, the long and the short of it is, after 3 weeks of being in Italy, we were like ready to put down roots. Unfortunately, couldn't do it at that time, but we have held on to that for these last 20 some years. And
really?
At the beginning of this year, New Year's Eve, I just made a resolution to myself that I was going to pick up where we left off 20 years ago with that desire to move to Italy, and I was going to start just putting the intention out there that we were going to find a way. And it wasn't too far after that I stumbled upon you and a home in Italy, started watching your webinars. Anyway, we're now past COVID, it's clear to travel again, and so we decided this year we definitely wanted to get back across the ocean, and initially the idea was to go to Paris for my birthday. But the more I was listening to you, and the more I was intrigued with what you were telling us about Abruzzo and the idea that it was possible to get a home in Italy, I was like, wow, for my birthday, this would be the thing that would really rock my 60th birthday. So
it's a great story. And plus, Stan saved on a hotel in Paris as well, so it's sort of a double-edged sword.
Yes.
No, that's super. So it's been 20 years in the making, and then it was a New Year's resolution.
Yes.
And in all of this, I mean, we've got friends in other parts of Italy. We've always loved, obviously Tuscany. We've always loved the Cinque Terre and Rapallo, and we've loved different areas. And we always thought that, we'd be in one of those areas. And it wasn't until we saw the amazing diversity in Abruzzo and the fact that you can be in a town and you could be a half hour from a ski area and at the other direction, a half hour to the beach, and absolutely brilliant weather. It was like, okay, this is actually the perfect setting for us.
Yeah, we were intrigued.
Perfect. So what I'm going to say is, because the camera is slight, I don't know if everybody else experienced it, the camera is slightly out of sync. So if there's a pause, if you stop talking and then there's a little bit of a pause, it's purely because your mouth's still moving a bit and there's nothing coming out. So you may be finishing sentences slightly before me. So apologies if there's a bit of a delay. So there's one question I want to ask before we look through your adventure and look through some of the houses that you saw and talk about all things like that. So in a one-word answer, okay? I can't remember what the question is now. Oh, hang on a second. Here we go. So did you get, as in the house that you chose, did you get the house that you thought you wanted? Yes or no?
No.
No.
Okay. So that will all come to fruition for everybody to see. So the house that you had in your mind is not the house that you bought or buying, should I say?
That is correct.
Okay. So everybody's intrigued now. So we'll just turn it off and we'll wait until next week. Okay, here we go.
You're such a tease, Dave.
So going back to the point when you thought, okay, now we're going to do it. Now we're going to set things up. You started emailing me, as people do. So what was the dream? What was the dream at that point? So forgetting everything that you've known now, what was the dream property? What were you looking for?
Well, our dream property was going to be a place in a town that we could have public transportation, that we could get around without having to have multiple vehicles, et cetera, et cetera. I wanted to be able to walk to the bar, walk to the restaurant, walk to places and stuff. And it was actually, I don't know how to describe it, because it's kind of a faded memory at this point of what we originally wanted. But the more we saw, and it kind of shaped where we wanted to go, and we allowed ourselves to see what there was available. Yeah. And oh my goodness.
And that was the great thing for working with you guys. I know you say that you forgot sort of what you actually wanted, but I've remembered. Look, I've still got it written here in my own handwriting. Your spec from our first meeting. So I've already asked if you mind sharing your budget, which you said you didn't mind. So you gave me a budget of $200,000 was your budget, which was at that point was around about 180,000 euros. You told me at that point that it must have a garage. That was one of your must-haves. 2 bed, 2 bath, a good kitchen. You mentioned that, so you must have mentioned that you like to cook. So I've written a good kitchen down. Views were really important. You mentioned that you want to travel throughout Europe, that you wanted to move here. You were looking for a property that was livable, but you would look at restorations, and you would be able to walk to a market if possible, and walk to services and all that kind of thing. So that was the spec that you sort of gave me. And the great thing about you both is you came open-minded and you wanted to have a look at a little bit of everything, which is what we did, really, isn't it? We had a few days together, and we had a look at a bit of everything. So what I want to do before we start talking about sort of the feelings about the place that you fell in love with and everything else is just walk people through some of the properties that you saw and just tell us how you felt about them. No doubt some of these properties people have already been looking at our website and seen the properties. So the first one that we kicked off with was this property. So we met up, and this wasn't one of your photographs, Stan. I know you're a far better photographer than me, but I wanted to show off my photo skills, just for the first part. Obviously, this is not when you came because there's still snow on the mountains. But so here we are. Heading, you've got quite a few strange photographs of me, by the way, Stan. I just seem to be walking off and leaving you, but that's me at the bottom of the steps. And there's Sharon. What did you guys think to this property that has incredible views? What were your feelings about this place?
Well, I really liked it. I was like, wow, this is the first one we're getting a chance to see, and you were blowing me away with it. It had been already renovated, and I liked the way it was finished. It was clean, and the rooms were comfortable. Definitely enjoyed the view. I think that the thing that was a little bit of a concern were the stairs. You get to the bottom of the stairs, and Stan would be likely to bump his head. And I was a bit concerned about this being a chronic issue for him.
Right.
A regular bump on his forehead.
Are you saying I'm a large man?
Well,
Tall, large? Yes.
No. We agreed that we were both big boned, if you remember. So
yes,
big bone.
Big bone.
Yeah. And we're sticking to that. So the property, that was something. When you mentioned about the steps in the beginning, that was never really thought of, was it? Steps and things like that. I think that seemed to happen when you came here. It suddenly became, even though Stan is very mobile, as we can see now, he's getting up with no problem.
Okay,
but
I can't see me on the screen.
Okay. Okay. But yeah, I mean, it suddenly did become a little bit about steps and things like that, didn't it? I mean, these again are things that people don't think about, but they're
Yes.
things you've got to consider.
Yes. That was definitely kind of a come to reality uh, point of understanding as we started walking through the various properties and realizing that a lot of these are built multi-leveled and stairs would be a daily part of our routine.
Yeah.
We're fortunate here in South Carolina to live in a one-level brick ranch house and know that as we get older, going up and down lots of steps will become difficult.
Yeah.
But
Just to say, Thomas has written, totally with you, Stan. Some houses we've seen would require a helmet with the doorways.
Yes, exactly. And I don't need one more bang in the head. And again, the right stairs, the right situation, or if I wasn't if I wasn't 6'2", then I could fit, it would have been more of a non-issue. But for me personally, that was one of the things that caught up for us.
Okay, so just to let people know that this one, because somebody's just asked where's the first location. So this is in a place called Palombaro, which is quite close to where I live. Just so people can see on this here, this is the town of Palombaro. I live round about here. In fact, I think me and Stan agreed that we could have put some sort of zip line between this house and our house if you would have bought it. So that one is on the website. I hate doing the telling people sort of how much it is, because it sounds like I'm just selling the house, but it's for $149 if people are interested. So yeah, I mean, so the first thing that strikes me with that property then is going back to your spec is you asked me for a town, something that you could walk to facilities and things like that. We had a conversation where I tried to explain to you that Abruzzo is all about a number of towns, not just being in one particular town, where you could be somewhere. Clearly, that house is in the countryside, not far from towns. How did you feel about that? Did it suddenly change the way you thought that maybe you didn't have to be right in town?
Yeah, actually, that was the thing. You can get anywhere in a short amount of time. It's amazing how quickly you can get around the entire region of Abruzzo. There is more than half a dozen different ways to get to a certain place. So it's not like you are stuck on one highway or one road. You've got a number of different options. And I love it because now we found special places in each of these towns that you've shown us, special people in each of these towns that you've shown us. We're looking forward to being able to quickly hop over and see people in other towns, but knowing that we're so close, it's a non-issue.
Yeah, no, that's brilliant. I mean, I'm glad you speak like that, because to me, that was the attraction of Abruzzo when we bought. That it's not, you don't have to think, oh, I must be in this town or I must be in this town, because as you say, it's all about traveling around different experiences and different places. So the next property we went to, this one again, we're stuck with detached houses. Can you remember this property? Can you remember it's in a place called?
And that thing was huge.
Yes.
that was
lots and lots of space in this one. It doesn't look like it from the outside, but lots and lots of space.
Yeah, because this is sort of over 3 floors, isn't it? A huge, potentially sort of a 5-bedroom detached with fantastic views again. Looking at the Mile mountain range. Was that? I mean, obviously, when people come viewing properties, I like to throw a little bit of everything in there. Was that a step too far? Do you think, having a property that was huge?
Yeah. Again, it was one of those things where it was definitely a contender. You know, if we talk about the fact that we didn't see any properties that we went, oh no, this is just awful. Everything was great. I mean, I love that garage basement with that easy open garage door. I mean, you could open it with one finger. Yeah. I mean, it had so much potential. But then again, it had probably more than we wanted. Yeah. Because again, the more rooms, the more things we have, the more we have to take care of and clean. And pay taxes. Well, pay taxes on. But that's a smaller portion. But it's a more of the, what do we have to take care of? And we also know if we have more rooms, we're going to fill them with more stuff again.
So then we sort of we went from Archi and we went to a place called Fara San Martino, which is the famous for the Gol di San Martino, which is the throat of San Martino, which is what Stan's taking a photograph of here, that you can walk into the gorge and touch either side of the mountainside. A spectacular place. And we went to see something then completely different. And we went to see a historical, not sure what I'm doing on that step. Looks like I'm doing a little bit of a dance, just about to, get into some sort of move there. But this was a historical building. And I seem to remember you quite sort of like this one. Can you remember your thoughts on this?
This was intriguing, definitely. This had more of a grandeur that you associate with palazzas and larger types of homes. It, again, had steps, I recall.
Yeah.
And the layout was a bit curious. I was having a hard time visualizing us living there and utilizing the space. So I hated to say no.
Yeah.
But I am a very practical person.
Yeah.
And, so
and again, sorry to interrupt. Again, that is a classic thing, because people look at these houses. When we advertise these sorts of houses, they're the ones that people, send loads of messages about, because it looks so Italian. It's so very, as you said, it's a palazzo, isn't it?
Yeah.
But then when you hear in person, yes, some people still love it, still want to go ahead. But some people then think like you do, the practicalities of things, and maybe that comes into it more than anything. Would you agree?
Yes.
And one thing I'd like to add, depending on where we were at, if we were to go back 10 years or 20 years in our life, or different portions of our life, each one of these places that we've seen so far and you're going to show, each one of them would have been a fit at some point.
Yes.
Because they all have this wonderful magic and things you could start going, oh, this could be used for this, and this canteen area could be changed to that. So again, it's because of the fact that we're in our 60s that this was not exactly what we were thinking we wanted. Now, it was what we told you we wanted, but as we started going through, that's what happens.
Things change, yeah, definitely. So Robert's saying, can you kick off with the location and property price? I will do, Robert. Yeah, I didn't want to turn this into a sort of look at this one and the sales thing. Rather, I wanted to obviously hear your story. But that was in a place called Fara San Martino, and the price of that one I think is about $69, if I remember, off the website. Needs some work, but will be a fantastic place. So the next one, then we looked at something completely different again. Which was this one, which, if you remember, this one's in a place called Taranta Piligna. I've just had an offer accepted on this one now, and I wanted to show you this one because of the ridiculous price tag of €29,000. What did you think of this one?
That was incredible too. Love that little piazza area over there. The rooms, the tall ceilings. Here again, it was another place that was like, wow, this is pretty fantastic. Again, had no place to park for a garage, though.
Yes, no garage. Yeah. I'm just quite. This photograph made me laugh. Actually, it looks like I'm trying to sort of sneak up or scare Sharon at some point.
Well, you did a few times, but that's
I didn't see you, Dave.
It's part of the ridiculous games we play. The view from that one is fantastic as well, isn't it?
It was beautiful.
Yeah.
I think one of the things that was hard on the day that we saw this one was there were no people around.
Yeah.
It was quite quiet.
Yes.
And so it did have a feeling of being not abandoned necessarily, but there was a sense that there wasn't a community, even though I'm sure there is.
Yes.
And if we had visited it on a different time, it might have hit me at least emotionally differently.
Yes, I think when we visited the town, I think because if I remember rightly, because the next photograph leads on to that, is we were it was lunchtime, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
So,
Food, glorious food.
yeah. So obviously Italians, when it gets to 1 o'clock, the town just empty. So that, yes, definitely. I know you said you wanted something sort of slightly bigger at that time in terms of houses. So moving on to food then, while we're on that subject. So after that property, let me just find it again. For some reason, all my numbers are mixed up. I dropped you at a restaurant and you sent these photographs as well.
And it was delicious.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm hungry.
Yeah, I'm ready for lunch.
But you say that you're always hungry.
Always hungry. Always hungry.
So this is the
Somebody say Abruzzo.
Trattoria del Pagano in Palombaro, and this dish, I'm pleased you had this one. This is their signature dish, which is called Vraga di Mulo, which is quite an ancient dish that started in this town. And the vraghe, as they call it, is a dialect word for the I don't know if I told you this, but you know the slip that they put on donkeys before they put a saddle on. It's
Yes.
Bear with me, don't worry, you weren't eating donkey, but what it is
Donkey blankets.
Basically donkey blankets. I'm actually seeing the owner of the restaurant tonight, so I'm gonna suggest that to add to the menu as the English translation.
Well, and please pass along to him again. It was such a delight meeting him, and his service and the food were fantastic.
Definitely.
It was wow. Gosh, we got to get back sooner than our closing.
Yeah.
It's like we got to sell something so we can fly over just for dinner.
So moving on from Donkey Blanket Pizza, pasta, which is just an amazing name. Okay, so then we carried the day on just after, and again, this one's just been the people are flying out tomorrow. Actually, this one's also been sold in Palombaro, and I sent you to this one thinking, I just wanted to show you one that potentially more holiday home style. But I wanted you to see it. But you quite like this one, but it was the stairs again, if I remember, that concerned you slightly.
Yes.
I think that the thing I didn't realize was that the entrance, the front of the entryway, was in a back alley.
Yeah.
And that.
But look at that now. But look at that.
Oh yeah. Yeah, looking off the back window, it's glorious.
And up on the deck and on the back balconies, it was just spectacular.
Yeah.
I mean, I could see having coffee out there every morning and wine every evening.
And it's beautifully, again, finished. And I know that it would be sold with the furniture, and that's very appealing.
Yes.
But there are some tricky stairs involved that I'm thinking to myself, in 5 years, will I be able to come up and down these stairs without terrifying myself?
She's being too kind. She'll do just fine. She's worried about this old fart falling down and hurting himself.
But again, I know, because my job is to obviously listen to people as we're going around, and it's easy just to, I always say to people, I hate when people have a list of properties they want to see, because if you stick to a list, all of a sudden, if something like stairs, and you've mentioned it quite a few times here, becomes an issue, then sometimes people's list can just be thrown out of the window, because all of a sudden you think, actually, I've chosen 10 properties that I want to see, and now I've seen a few and realize how these houses are laid out. It can then become, a little bit of a problem, which is again why I say to people, don't have this list. Don't just stick to one thing, and again, that was great that you guys were prepared to sort of to look around and be open-minded about it all. So just to let everybody know, that one is in Palombaro, but it was sold pretty much straight away, to be honest with you. And that was on at €75,000. So it is a fantastic property. The views out of there are just absolutely stunning. So that was the end of day one. We did see other properties. And then Tony picked you up from the restaurant and took you to Penepiedimonte, which is the place next to Palombaro, and obviously showed you this walkway. So that's Palombaro in the distance. Nice photograph that, Stan, by the way. It just shows that you can take a decent photo when you want to.
Well, if only we had scenery, right? Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
But this is a stunning place, isn't it? This part. I mean, again, to think that you're sort of half an hour from the beach when you stood on something like this is quite remarkable. So that was sort of the end of day one. And I remember you saying, which you've already said on here now, that there wasn't anywhere that you went that you wouldn't live in. You liked all the places that we went to. Is that right?
Yeah.
That was correct.
Yes. We certainly could have made any of them work, but we were still grateful we had more time to visit more with you.
Yeah.
And are grateful that we kind of held out making that final decision.
Yes. Yeah. No, definitely. There's one property for everybody, isn't there, at the end of the day? So
Right.
So the start of day two, we went then round to the other side of the Maiella, and we went sort of towards Manopello way. So we saw a number of. I don't know if you can remember the one that we saw in Manopello, but it was part of a palazzo. Can you remember this one?
Yes.
And what a crazy property this is. But again, I wanted to show you just something completely different. What were your thoughts on this one?
I love the door. Love the door.
Was that
having the crane to get things in?
If it was all about the door, yes.
Yeah.
We definitely would have been on this one.
And this, this courtyard in the middle of the building was quite,
Yes.
it was quite special. Obviously Manopello town was a slightly bigger town, even though it was quiet when we went in the morning. But you were in the town with this one. Again, part of the spec of you wanting to originally was to be able to walk out and go to a bar, go to a market, public transport and all the rest of it. But then I noticed that things did seem to shift from that train of thought after you'd seen sort of others in the countryside. Were you starting to feel different at this point?
Yeah, we were starting to feel a little bit different, although, again, as Sharon said, we loved this place too. It was stunning, and all of a sudden we're thinking, oh gosh, we could do this, we could change that up. We would, instead of having that very top area, anyway, I won't talk too much. But again, things kept doing a subtle shift. And we wanted to see all the ones that you had pulled together, because you said, well, keep your mind open. There's a number of different places for you to check out.
Yep.
And wow, like I said, it was such a beautiful education.
So then from Manopello, we then moved on to I'm having to flick through photographs, everybody, but for some strange reason, my numbers are missing from them. So from Manopello, we then moved on to Leto Manopello, which is the next town along. And we saw another palazzo type building. I mean, this is obviously some of the local countryside. So this property is on at 99 that had this rather nice entrance, if you remember this one. And the nice entrance up to the apartment. In my mind, by this point, I was starting to think stairs, but this, once you got up there, was all on one level. And I thought at this time, did you like this apartment and the finish?
Yes.
Oh my goodness!
Loved this one.
Yeah.
Really loved this one. It has such a beautiful artistic flair to it. The owners have definitely infused a lot of interesting, unique features and personality to it. Totally appealed to my eclectic sense of style.
Yeah.
Very, very much loved this one.
Yeah, when we went in, I mean, you felt like you were at home. I mean,
Yeah.
you came
Very
in,
comfortable.
and by the way, those stairs, I've got a wide angle lens on. Those stairs weren't as bad as it looks.
Yeah.
Those stairs and that entryway,
They were gradual.
It was gradual, and the entryway, the way they designed it, was simply stunning with those built-in lights and some of the reveal. I mean, my goodness, it was like
This was a real tempter.
it was in contention.
And this, again, what I love is when people suddenly start to make different vibes and then start to think of other properties, but you still keep your mind open, which was fantastic. This one as well, I didn't go up here just because of my fear of heights, but you guys went up onto the roof that could potentially be a roof terrace as well up there. Obviously needed to be done, but that would have been quite a spectacular space, wouldn't it, up on the top there?
Yes, because of course you had the views of the Grand. I can't remember if you could see the Grand Sasso from there, but I mean it was just
yes, you can.
stunning. just stunning.
Yeah, and obviously on the outside it was completely finished. It's the top floor of this building.
Yes.
So yeah, again, the vibes were coming sort of really strong from you guys. Which then, when we went to the next one, I actually thought to start with, I thought this next one was it. Can you remember this one?
Oh yes, we do. Another stunner.
Yes.
And this again had the stone that you seemed then to
beautifully finished.
Like.
Yes, beautifully finished.
So this is just before Rocco Marice, and we're going to talk about Rocco Marice soon, because obviously that became a bit of a thing for you guys. But so this one's on at 129,000 for anybody that's looking. And yeah, so the inside of this, obviously the views were stunning from there as well. You were a few minutes out of the town, but it seemed to be the finish, the stone finish, and the inside that seemed to really get you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh yes. Yeah, this one is absolutely beautiful. They managed to retain a lot of the original original creation of the house, but they've finished it in such a way that it also felt very not modern necessarily, but up to date.
Yes.
And very comfortable.
Yeah. Excellent.
Yeah, no, I love it, and it was such a great example of how old homes can be beautifully appointed. Yes,
I mean, I again with these properties, I mean, I saw a little bit. It seemed to sort of. It seemed to me that the stone finishes and that kind of thing, we talk about stairs, putting that to one side, but the stone finishing and having that nice sort of traditional look, that seemed to be coming through quite strong for you guys. Is that, would you say, that's fair to say that?
So, I have always loved the Mediterranean home and have always aspired to the tile rooftops and the arches and all of those kinds of particular details to that region.
Yeah, some of the features in them. While you're talking, I'm just going to get rid of a few photographs because I'm having to flick back. So just bear with me while I'm doing this, because for some reason my software just wants to play a few tricks with me, and I'm just going to clear a few photographs off, and then we're going to move on to the next one. So while we were heading towards, obviously this was just outside Rocco Marice, we then decided to have a look at one. If I remember rightly, I'd not even seen this. So this is going back to that stone one again. That was the last photograph we took of that. We then went on to see a property that I'd not seen either. This was a new one to me in Abruzzo. Can you remember this quite grand place?
Yes. I remember thinking to myself as we were looking at this would be the one to build the B&B out of.
Right.
It was stunning, and the size. I mean, again, as you go through, and I don't know what other photos you have, but I mean, the tall ceilings, just the size of the rooms, everything was just
very elegant.
Yeah, quite elegant.
It did seem like, I mean, even though the kitchen, as we can see there, is sort of a little bit 19, what would you say, 70s, 80s, something like
70s,
that. Yeah. But again, lots of these sorry to interrupt, but lots of these places, as we explained, and what's difficult to come across on photographs is all these are stone and vaultings underneath, so that the stuff that you really liked from before, you could reveal in places like this.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, we had already been thinking, okay, we could do this, we could reveal that, it was such a beautifully solid and elegant place that it could have definitely been another amazing thing, and it could have actually been turned into an income producer.
Yes, yeah, and the great selling point, obviously, of this one as well was this roof terrace, which absolutely beautiful views over the countryside. So anybody that's looking at this one, this is in a place called Abruzzo, and it's on at 119,000 euros. Tanya's just saying that she's lost some sound. So Tanya, it may just be you. You may want to come out back in again. But if there is any problem, if somebody else can let us know, but we'll carry on regardless. So again, looking at the views from the roof terrace, and then after Abruzzo, we then went to Rocca Morice. Oh, sorry. Just before we move on to that, if this is the basement of
that's the basement, yes.
Yeah, and that's
this room alone was amazing.
Yeah, we were thinking if we were going to do this one, we would live down here. This would be our entire living space, and then you still had 2 floors, right? 2 floors above that.
Yes, yeah. I mean, there's like 4 bedrooms upstairs on the top, and then there's a few rooms on the middle floor, and then this huge that had its own entrance. This place as well, didn't it? Christina, yes. It's 119. Christina's just asking if it's 119 or 190. So yeah, 119. I'm just going to delete another few photographs. Bear with me again, folks, just while I do this, because if not, it's just going to be very annoying. So after we had left Abruzzo, we then went back to Rocca Morice, and we pulled up to this place. Hold on one second. Which I don't mind saying to people now that this was the place then that just did something to you, didn't it? What?
Not right away.
Well,
not right away. Yep. Okay. Yep. I'm glad. Okay.
Because you told us as we were driving there, oh, we're just going to stop by this place. This woman has some cats and dogs, and well, I just want to show it to you. Is basically what you said.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't even really supposed to be on the radar.
Yeah, but you do realize now that was just my sales patter, don't you?
You sly devil.
That was the reverse psychology.
But to be honest with you, and I'm not blowing I am going to blow my own trumpet a little bit, but if you actually think about it, now we're talking, and you're actually telling people, your thoughts when you were viewing and all that kind of thing. If you actually think about what you said to me, so stairs became a little, yes, there are stairs in this place, but it was limited stairs. So stairs became a bit of a topic, and features obviously became a huge thing. And this property, at the end of the day, had both of those things in abundance. It's just, as you said, when you first came up and thinking, not sure. These are the kind of properties that we put on the website, and we may as well not bother putting them on the website, because like my house that we bought here, if I would have put this on the website before we bought it, people would just skip past it. How long was it? And I'm just going to show another few photographs before we start telling a little bit of let me get rid of some of these, a little bit of the story. So this again is the outside of the property, which if I would have, tell me the truth now, if I would have sent you a photograph of this while you're in the US and said, this is one that I'm going to take you to see, what would you have said?
I would have said, save us those good drugs and we'll share them. No, seriously though, sorry, my poor wife, she still loves me. I mean, it definitely, again, from the photos and what you're seeing here, you don't see the whole story.
Yeah.
When we started going into it, I was already prejudiced against it because you said it had cats and dogs living in it. I'm definitely allergic to those things.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking to myself, I do not think living in a place that has had an abundance of cats and dogs is going to work for me. Yep. But sure, okay, we'll go and look at it. And even as we're going through it, I was still of that mindset. But then Stan started sparking up and saying, ooh.
I remember.
And he, oh yeah, I see this. And he was really the one starting to get kind of excited about it. I'm like, really? What do you see that I'm not seeing? And go ahead.
Well, so anyway, what happened was, it was because of the fact that we'd seen all these other places and what was possible, what was exposed, what was done, what could be taken care of. And the more we had seen from other places, the more I could see kind of behind the veneer, if you will.
Yep.
And again, what people don't realize is we had seen this house, and it was one of many. We were also supposed to, if you remember, we were supposed to go and see other houses the next day.
Yep.
And we had, after this, we had stopped, and we were introduced to a lovely gentleman who I know you're going to talk about later, so
Yep.
I won't bring him up. But it had something to do with Prosecco. Anyway, but getting to know the town, getting to know people, and the more my brain percolated on this, and I could see in my mind's eye the finished result.
Yeah.
And in my mind's eye, I could picture this being built, or not built, but rebuilt, redone, exactly what we wanted. Exactly. And the cool thing is there were many other benefits that we hadn't even thought about of this particular property. Things like nut trees, things like a little bit of land, things like, whoever thought about having an exterior bathroom when you're out working in the yard?
Yeah.
But it makes perfect sense, so you don't track everything into the house. And it's got enough room, so eventually we can make a bocce court, because we love playing bocce. And the whole thing started coming together. And the more,
it really got the percolation going in Stan's brain.
I remember it well, because I remember the other properties, even though you both loved them. It was more you, Sharon, sort of going off onto it. This is fantastic. And even though, you know, Stan was agreeing and everything, as you said earlier, this was the first one where all of a sudden Stan disappeared on his own. And you know, and it, you know, what you're saying there, you were talking about how much you love bocce. You're talking about, and I'm going to show people a little bit more of the interior in a second, but I always say to people, when you're buying a house, it is a lifestyle thing, isn't it? The actual house doesn't become secondary, but all of a sudden the house suddenly fits with you and you think, you know what, I could be here. And that seemed to really come across, especially from you first, Stan. And then you seemed to join in as well, Sharon, afterwards, once we started talking about what could be done.
Yes. Well, and that was so helpful when you started to explain how the old original stone finishes could be revealed, and that with some, not necessarily minor or modest, but with some reasonable and fairly easy to do modifications, we could really bring this thing back to its former glory.
Yeah, I've stopped on this picture, and sorry to interrupt you, Sharon. I've stopped on. Barbara's just saying I felt the same way on the house I bought, and that is true. Barbara is going to hopefully do one of these with me next month. She was exactly the same when she went into a house. It's the same thing that happens to people, and I'm pausing on this picture purely because you put this on the website and people skip past it. What people are not seeing that is on that floor, and I'm sure you remember well, is the original stone flooring, which is beautiful. Yes. Then you look at the ripple ceilings, you take the plaster off that, and you've got the same finish. You know, you take the you know, I don't want to offend the owner, but you take the IKEA furniture out, you know, you take the red curtains down and the burgundy throw, and you reveal some stone, and all of a sudden you've got this amazing looking place. And luckily you guys saw that straight away. You know, so from that, I mean, obviously I want to talk about, you know, when we went back with the medio, the geometry. So we went into the town, into Rocco Morice, which is what you were talking about before. And this is one of my pictures, Stan, by the way. This is really early morning. It was absolutely boiling this particular morning. There wasn't a soul on the streets. It was so hot. But I would say this, again, we're looking at pictures of Rocco Morice. Something seemed to happen to you, Sharon, when we went into the town. And I'm not talking about, obviously we had the walk down here. You liked these gardens, didn't you? You want to try and do something to help the local council. I mean, tell people about that.
I started to feel like there was a place for me in a way that I could, you know, be involved or contribute to the community. I'm a master gardener, and this little place that had once been a park was definitely looking very neglected, and I thought, wow, maybe there's some ideas that I could bring to this and liven this back up and make it into something that people would enjoy.
Yes.
And I don't know, it really did spark a sense in me of how I could plug in and become integrated.
I mean, I paused on a photograph, which again, people will have to apologize because I'm going to have to apologize because I'm struggling a little bit with these pictures. Let me just get back to, but there was one particular picture that I absolutely loved that Stan took, and it is this one, because all of a sudden Stan got it in the house and you started to get it in the house, but all of a sudden when we came into the town and we sat down and you just seemed to come to life a little bit more. And was it that feeling that you think I could live here?
Yes, I think that was definitely where it started to really resonate with me, that this could be home.
Right. Or could it have been more this?
That didn't hurt.
Well, we certainly enjoyed that as well.
So we stopped to have a little drink, and as everybody knows, that I work with a couple of geometers. My favorite is this guy, Emilio, who is my number one geometer. And you know, again, he doesn't speak any English, but how did you feel? You know, I thought the vibe between you guys was just fantastic. How did you start to feel?
I feel like I've known him all my life. I can't wait to get back because he and I have a date with a bottle of Prosecco. I mean, but seriously, and that's why Sharon and I are practicing our Italian every single night. Yeah. And we want to become conversational at least.
It was wonderful how engaged he chose to be.
Yes.
In this particular property that we were interested in. He didn't have to. He certainly could have been all standoffish and sure, maybe I'll take a look at it another day. But man, he wanted to get there the next day and really take a look at it and find out more about it for us.
Yeah.
And that.
So we did do that, didn't we? We went back the next day. These photographs I want to show to people because you went back that evening, didn't you? And we'll talk about Emilio. We'll talk about Emilio in a second and what he sort of showed you and things. But you went back to go to the local pizzeria. Obviously, these are some of the photographs that you took while you were here. Just explain, the photographs you've taken here. Explain how Rocca Morice is situated.
Oh, it's beautifully situated right on this kind of on the mountainside, and it's easily accessible from a number of different directions.
You mentioned how you've always wanted to live in the Rocky Mountains.
Oh, well, that's the other thing. That was the whole point of me finally moving back out to Colorado as a young man, because I always wanted to live up in the Rocky Mountains. I love being in the mountains, but it didn't make a whole lot of sense in Denver. Here,
because it's an hour drive.
Yeah, at least an hour drive, and there's only a couple of roads up and a couple of roads down. Here, it didn't matter what day of the week. I mean, you could go 6 different directions. You could go to different towns, different markets, and different areas. But there was something so special as we left from that amazing dinner, by the way, and we were heading out, and we were looking in the rearview mirror of the car, and we just had to pull over the car and take pictures of the town on the hillside. It was breathtaking. It was like we were leaving our home, and it actually hurt to leave.
Yeah, I mean, we really felt that as well. We're going to get emotional a little bit later, Stan. I know we are. So we'll try and hold it. We'll try and hold it back before we do start bursting into that. So obviously you've gone there the night before. I need to just try and find the photograph that I want to move to, which is not that one just yet. So we decided then to go back the day after, and Emilio came back with us. And you said that you loved his input into that. You explained to people what he was sort of explaining to you and what we were doing this particular day.
Well, he was basically sizing up the room and identifying, the dimensions, talking about what it would take to reveal the stonework both on the walls and on the ceiling, and was giving us some rough ideas of what it would cost. He went downstairs and made sure to look at the pizza oven
Yeah.
which we're excited is part of the original structure, and just really gave us a good ballpark estimate or idea of what would be possible to do.
Yeah.
And so since I've been back here in the States, I've been already, pulling together some thoughts and ideas, and I'm looking forward to being able to finally discuss those with him.
Yeah. And it's great to see somebody, obviously is very passionate in his job, and he loves doing stone buildings. And he said it to me since, he said it to you guys at the time, that in his opinion, that property is going to just look superb. And just to explain to people as well, these kind of properties, the space was great. I mean, the other stone house that we saw was brilliant and looked beautiful and everything else, but size-wise, this place that you guys are buying, was much bigger, wasn't it? But if you're thinking out of the box and looking at everything, you can get all the features of the other places, but much more space.
Yes, and that is important. Not that we want something huge, but we definitely would be unhappy if we were in a very cramped space.
Yeah.
And found ourselves really limited with what we could do with the rooms. And so these are good sized rooms, and we've already talked about ways that we can rework the bathroom, possibly building a second bathroom, adapting the kitchen to being that beautiful, good kitchen space that we had initially spoken with you about, and the fact that underneath there's room underneath the level to park our cars, so there's some protection there.
Yeah. Again, these are things that people don't think about, but it's a great addition. I just wanted to say again, this room, if I've taken a photograph of this room and it is on the website, but again, people look at these things and think, okay, no, but unfortunately, the lady, obviously been to IKEA and IKEA'd it out a little bit. But again, removal. I mean, you guys basically said, and Emilio was excited when you said it, that you just want to take everything out. You want it back to stone. You want the vaultings again. You're going to put potentially new floor or whatever it is down, and that all of a sudden it became an exciting prospect for you, didn't it?
Yes.
Yes, and the fact that Emilio knows his stuff, he was actually able to answer the question about could we relocate the fireplace and open it up between the two rooms?
Yeah.
And put it in the corner of that room. I mean, he's, again, having a team like you've assembled has been brilliant, because everybody brings in their own specialty and can answer those things and says, yes, and here's how we can do this, and here's what can happen here. And it's like, okay, it's settled then. We don't have to worry about it. It's good.
Yeah. And let's just so people know that I'm not the type of person that when I get a budget that somebody wants to that I try and spend everybody's money, even though we may spend it all by the time we've done it all up. But you guys came with a 180K budget, and I know you didn't mind me saying this, but this particular property was on at 79K, which again had to be a factor in your decision making, surely, with it being such a huge, so well under your budget.
Yes, that certainly was reassuring.
Yeah.
We know we'll spend more on the renovation.
Yes.
Of course, yeah.
So, that will definitely level it out. But we are definitely getting a tremendous value. And we haven't even talked about all of that land behind down the hill. And the fact that it does have fruit and nut trees on it, and being able to turn that area into a garden space that we can really enjoy.
Yeah.
Well, and one of the other things we realized is at this point in our lives, we can make this exactly the way we've always wanted it, have our dream house, and we can still be under budget.
Yeah.
How cool is that?
Yeah. No, that's brilliant. Okay, so bear with me 1 second again, because I'm going through this thing of getting rid of photographs, because I'm making life very difficult for myself at the moment. So I need to get where I can actually see what I'm showing you. So obviously we then discussed we discussed with Emilio all the different ideas that that you can do on the property, and obviously he was getting excited. After that, then Emilio wanted to show off some of the things he's done for other people.
Yes.
So I'm just going to quickly show people. So because what he felt was that your property, he can get looking, in these kind of style, and again, you seem to like all of this.
We were so excited to see that. That's exactly the kind of look and feel that we would love to have for our home. And the fact that it's all hidden underneath that extra plaster,
yes,
we would never have understood that had we not been talking with you and you talking with Emilio. So, yeah, this is very exciting to us.
this is a great picture as well. No, I mean, it's great when somebody's got a passion for it, and it's great. I mean, Emilio obviously lives in the town as well, which is fantastic. His son is the mayor of the town, and I know he can't wait to get started doing things. And then it did become. I'm just going to quickly answer one question that Rick's asked, which you can help me answer this as well. And it's a good question, actually. He said, do Italians in these small towns welcome or resent expats? What would your answer, even though you only spent a few hours there, what would your answer to that, to Rick's question be?
We have found that in every single one of these small towns, they welcome us with open arms. It's like we're almost being invited into people's kitchens and dining tables, and it's such a beautiful, refreshing lifestyle.
Attitude,
yeah. And that is also part and parcel of the whole reason why we want to move there. We want to be a part of that kind of community where people treat each other with love and kindness.
I would say that also the prior weekend when the Di Giuro Italia came through, and we spent some time up there in Fileto.
Yeah.
Fileto. All of the townspeople were there, assembled, celebrating and sharing food, and
they just pulled us in.
They didn't know who we were from anybody, but they were here sharing our beans and
here's some beer and some wine and some rosticini and have some of ours, and they didn't know who the heck we were from anybody.
But and then when we started telling them how that we were in the region looking for a place to live, they just lit up. They were so excited. So I'm sure that as we get established and settle in, there's going to be some ebbs and flows in how those experiences go. But I think in the long run, ultimately, it's going to be incredibly beautiful, refreshing, and just the kind of place that we want to spend, our twilight years enjoying.
Yeah. No, I think, they're such great points that you're raising, because I do think, again, no matter how I sit here and talk to people, as you know, as much as possible, part of my business is a sales thing. But, I've always said you can't sell a house in the sense of a house finds you, doesn't it, almost? And it's these kind of experiences that you guys are talking about now. And joking earlier, I know how upset you guys were to leave. And the conversations that we have now, and every time we speak, you look, I'm not going to say you look depressed, because you don't. You look fantastic. But every time we speak, it reminds me of when me and my wife got to the stage when we decided to move here to Italy. I remember coming back off a holiday. And I know people say, oh, it's the holiday blues, but it's not, is it? It's something else that you're missing.
It's a longing.
It's definitely a longing. And just so people know, we flew into Florence instead of Rome, which we probably should have just flown into Rome. But we wanted to go into Florence.
That's where we've been before.
We've been there before, but we wanted to go over to the Uffizi. We wanted to do this. We wanted to do that. We want to do some touristy things. And the funny thing is, we had reservations on our way back out before we flew out to go see a couple other museums. But by that time, we were kind of touristed out. That wasn't why we were there in Italy. We would have given up all of that in Florence just to spend one more day down in Abruzzo.
Yeah. And Dave, you'll love this, but as we were driving north, And I was just watching the countryside as we were going along, and I said to Stan, I'm glad that we experienced other parts of Italy before we discovered Abruzzo. Because Abruzzo has ruined the rest of the country for me. It now seems so boring.
And you've got great friends that live up in Tuscany and up outside of Siena and Arezzo and by the time we got up there to visit with them, we were like, it's okay, it's okay, but it's not the wow factor that it used to be.
Yeah, no, it's strange, isn't it? It's that homely thing, isn't it? It's that thing.
Yes.
I mean, I remember you sending me a text message from Florence, saying, Dave, I just want to be back. I just want to be back in Rocca Morice, and I get that sense from you every time. I mean, obviously, Abruzzo's not just Rocca Morice. You found your place. Lots of other people choose different towns, but Abruzzo is a great place for that. And the other thing that I'd like to sort of say to people is these towns, such as Rocca Morice, such as Palombara, where I live, they look like they're isolated. They look well out of the way. But it's so easy to get around, isn't it? Half an hour, 40 minutes, you're down on the beach from where you are, or you're in the national parks. That, again, is the beauty, isn't it, of the area?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, because we were able to zip down to Pineto, which was beautiful, and the bike paths right by the beach. And we spent time there, and we went down the other direction, headed further south to the Trabacchi coast. We had a blast down there, and just, it's so convenient. And there are. Yes, are there other places we could have picked to live? Sure. But anyway.
And I think that for us personally, because we both do have that Rocky Mountain affiliation, I definitely thought of myself always as a mountain girl. And here I am on the east coast of the United States, in the low country. So we have known the beach. Stan grew up in South Florida. So for us, the being on the coast wasn't as significant or as important as finding a way to have that little place that we call home in the mountains. But the fact that we can get so quickly down the mountain and have a weekend or a day at the beach, or down low is easy. And so...
And the roads and things, the roads and things like that, it's easy to get around, isn't it? I mean, Laura is saying that she drove from Rome to Abruzzo and she found it a little bit nerve-wracking. I know my mother-in-law, when she's in the car, it's quite hilarious. But the reality of it, it's not that bad, is it? It's quite easy to get around.
Actually, we found some of the roadways to be even better than what we have here in the States.
Much better.
And we love the concept of the roundabouts. I mean, it took a little bit of getting used to, but we miss those.
I love traffic flow.
Yeah.
And, it just makes sense.
Even being down in Chiarascala with the roundabouts, you could get from one end to the other, even if it was in the middle of, the busy time of the day.
Yeah. No, it's brilliant. And Kimberly's just made a really nice point. She says, we've had that longing feeling many times when we visited family and have to return home. Italy gets in your blood. It's like coming home each time we visit. It is, isn't it? It is. I mean, Italy is a fantastic country, but I'm always going to have for me, Abruzzo is something special. But more importantly is when you find that special place like you guys have. You've had those little experiences of meeting certain people, even in Chieti that you mentioned there, that you stayed there, that was just a convenient place to stay. Not really, you wouldn't really say an Italian place, just a normal sort of, what can you say, a normal suburb of Chieti, if you like. But you found friends even there, didn't you? Especially in the Arrosticini bar.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
My favorite, Il Piccolo Giosco.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness! Wow! I'm salivating trying to say the words, but that restaurant.
I've been struggling to find lamb so that we can make our own here, and it's very difficult to get our hands on it. But just
so you know, the key is it needs to be a little bit older than lamb, and it must be castrated. There you go. So
I did not know that. This is
I didn't until the other day, but it's castrated mutton apparently.
Well, and here's the interesting thing: ever since visiting there and having this was my first time ever having a rostaccini. We went to multiple restaurants in multiple towns and tried their different rostacinis. But since we've been back, I haven't had an urge to have a steak or other meats here. I think I want to save. I'm saving myself for a rostaccini.
Brilliant. Okay, guys. Well, it's been absolutely fantastic you sharing. There's lots of people a few people that have gone that have written nice comments and saying thank you so much to you guys as well for sharing the experience. So, I mean, to end on a note, obviously we're going through the process now, and I know you guys are wanting to do the visa process, and this is going to be home for you, isn't it? So,
Yes,
hopefully you're going to come back and share your experience with people. And I know we're going to see each other often and speak to each other often, but once the process gets going, it'd be great if you do another one of these and let people know how the visa's going, how the residence is going, and that kind of stuff. And obviously when we start doing the restorations and things, and that's going to be a bit of fun as well. So to leave everybody on a note, if you were, obviously lots of these people that are watching this now are thinking to themselves, I want to get on a plane, I want to go and view properties, hopefully with me. But let's say, what would be the biggest bit of advice you would give to people that were in your position a few months before you sort of came out? What would be the advice you would give to people?
My biggest piece of advice is find your expert. Find the person that knows. Because even though I think I know everything, and I know I don't, I could go and I could see something that has a sign for sale or whatever, but having your expert, your white knight, to be able to take care of it all and go with an open mind with that, stay open. I mean, that's imperative. Going at it on your own it's stupid. It's like trying to build a house one piece of stone at a time. It'll take you forever, and it'll never turn out as good as having an expert do it.
Yeah, perfect. Okay, guys. Well, it's absolutely brilliant to see you as usual. Can't wait for you to get back in. I know you can't. Let's before we start crying, Stan. Before we should really say goodbye again, or it's not goodbye, is it? It's what's the word you say instead? Oh, we can say goodbye, can't we? We'll see you. We'll see you soon, rather than goodbye. Thank you so much for entertaining us and for giving us your story. And we'll definitely catch up with you soon. So I'm going to let you guys go now, and I'm going to say bye to everybody. Thank you so much. I'll be in touch with you both soon, anyway, as you know. And thank you for sharing your experience.
Buonanotte, ciao. Arrivederci, ciao.
See you soon. Bye. Yeah. Okay, folks. So let me just. That's it. There you go. That was the first of the home buyers sessions. I hope you enjoyed that one. Stan and Sharon are fantastic people. It's been an absolute pleasure working with them. I'm not just saying that because they're probably still listening. I really do mean that, and it's great listening to things from their side. Because there's things that that I hear for the first time, and it's great. So hopefully that's given some of you the what's the word, encouragement to come out here and start looking for your dream. Okay, guys, thank you so much. I will see you next week. Remember, there's no webinar, but the week after there will be. And this is going to be once a month webinar where we're going to be speaking to people. I'm going to be speaking hopefully to Barbara over the next few days and ask her to come and do it. And there's lots of other people that want to share their stories as well. Okay, so thank you very much. And I will see you in 2 weeks' time. Stay safe. Keep thinking about us over here in Abruzzo or wherever you're buying in Italy. Italy's a fantastic place. I'm sure you'll find your perfect spot. Okay, guys, thank you so much. Have a good evening and see you really, really soon.